Just thanking everybody for joining us online. So with a set of data that goes back from 2022, I believe. Let me just confirm. Yeah, it's a full year of data for 2022. It's like about a little over 100 transactions for a business that is owned by an individual, and the person is in the business of being a broker. Started to send you guys emails with invitation to your new client. So far, I've sent one to Adam and Tori. I'm working on the other ones. So just give me 1 second, guys. Once you get the email, though, go ahead and accept that invitation for me, because you will need to access this new client in order to get started. So like I said, Adam and Tori, you guys are good to go. Jade, I'm working on yours now, and it's just going to be called broker and then your name. Once you're in, you guys remember that you're going to probably see a survey. Go ahead and go through that survey. It may ask you a couple of questions. Oh, Jade, okay, perfect. It looks like you got your screen share going. Okay, yep. So the first question that it may ask you is, what's your main role? We're going to put bookkeeper. If it doesn't ask you that question, whatever question it asks you, just, the survey is not the most important thing in the world, so just kind of get through it. And then if it asks you, what do you want to do? Go ahead and press skip for now. Because again, we're going to walk through all of that together. Once you get past that, I'm just going to check everybody's screens to see you guys are okay. Good. Cool. Okay, so the very first thing that we're going to do is I want you guys to select the gear icon. And when you press the gear icon, it should pop up a menu. I want that you should see switch to business view. Don't click it. If you see switch to business view, you're in a great place. If yours says switch to accountant view, go ahead and click switch to accountant view. If it says switch to business view, just leave it right there. But if it says switch to accountant view, click that switch to accountant view button for me. And we always want to do this. The reason why is that sometimes it'll default to the business owner's view. But again, I want us to really get familiar with using the terminology that we've been building on, and all of that is going to be on the accountant view side, okay? Alrighty, so the very next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to drop a data set in the chat for you guys. And this is going to be a Google document, but we're going to download it together, and then we're going to upload it into QuickBooks, and then we're going to start doing some data entry together. Okay, so, and I want you to first to just look at the data together. Okay, so this is again for a client who works as a broker. And you can see that the first thing to notice is column A is all the dates of the transactions. Column B is the descriptions of what happened. Column C are debits. Columns D are credits. So you can see that anytime that she spent money, she got a debit, right? The debits are all negatives. And anytime that she got a deposit, it's as a credit. And we talked about that, right? Debits will increase your expenses. Credits are going to increase your income, okay? And so the last column is the actual balance that was in her checking account. So this particular client banks at Bank of the West, I believe, but every bank is different, whether they bank at Chase, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, you know, small bank of whatever. There's so many different banking options. There's over 50,000 banks in the United States that they could choose from. Good job, Jade. So the spreadsheet that we're looking at right now is the actual CSV download of her transactional data from 2022. And so you can do this in your own bank. Most banks, I'll say, not all, but most banks, you can download this type of data in a spreadsheet format. And sometimes business owners want to do this because they need to be able to quickly analyze the data that's in their bank And so they want to just pull down a spreadsheet because the spreadsheet is so much more easy to manipulate than a PDF document, right?
Okay.
What I want everybody to do now, let's go back to that spreadsheet, and I'm going to have you guys download it. The thing about whenever we download spreadsheets that we're going to use in QuickBooks is we have to download them in what's called CSV file. Does anybody know what CSV stands for? Anybody?
What?
CSV, it stands for, does anybody know? It is comma separated values. So it's just a type of Excel document, basically. So if you go up to the file screen, you should see the button download, and you'll see a couple options. There'll be Microsoft Excel, Open Document, PDF, web page, comma separated values, and tab separated values. I want you guys to select comma separated values. And then you're going to just download this to your downloads folder. Okay, so the reason why we're doing this is that in some cases, right, where we are able to connect the bank, we don't need to upload a file, but sometimes our clients don't want to, or they're just, they are hard to get in contact with. We never want to ask our clients, hey, give me the username and password for your bank account so that I can connect it in QuickBooks. We always want to have them do a screen share like how we're doing currently, where we will walk them through how to do it. But sometimes it's hard to get the client to just slow down enough to do that. And so in order to get started, we can just use a downloaded document to be able to do this. And so sometimes our clients will do give us what's called view only access of the bank account. And that's what I have in this client's case is I can actually go in, log into her bank. I have my own username, my own password. I can only view her transactions. The problem with getting her username and her password is that I will have full access. Now, if $10,000 were to accidentally get transferred into some random bank account, and I have the username and the password, then I could get looked at as a part of that. And so I always want to use my own credentials just to always be safe about what has happened in the client's bank, right? We don't ever want to have full access because we don't want to have that responsibility that can happen, right? Because fraud or anything could occur on their bank account, and we don't want to be ever looked at as a part of that. If you only have view only access, the chances of you doing any of that stuff is slim to none. Now, again, we determined when we were looking at ordering the checks that there's a lot of different creative ways that fraud can happen, but we're trying to look out for our clients' best interests, and so we would always want to protect them and protect ourselves as well. Okay, so once you've downloaded that CSV file, I'll have you go back to QuickBooks. What I want to do is go to the banking window on that left side, banking buttons. You'll come to a page where it says connect account or upload transactions. I want you to select upload transactions. Okay, again, this is if we were on the Zoom with the client, we could connect the account, but since we are not, we have a spreadsheet, we're going to select upload transactions. Now you'll see two options: manually upload your transactions or bring in transactions automatically. It recommends that we bring them in automatically, but we're going to manually do it. Okay, so go ahead and press select files. And you're going to locate that file that you just put in your downloads folder. File there, go ahead and press continue. And now the next question is going to say, okay, select a bank account for where you want to upload these files. So we don't currently have a bank account because this is a brand new QuickBooks file. So let's press add new.
Okay.
Okay, and when you press add new, it will pop up with a screen that says, okay, what type of account is it? The first thing we're going to say is bank account. And you can see that there's a bunch of different options there. Bank account is an asset, and then it's going to say detail type. So there from the detail type, let's select checking. And I want you guys to call this checking. And what we typically do is we'll put the last 4 digits of the bank account number. So you'll put checking, and then in the name one where it has the asterisk, you'll put X, the letter X after the word checking. So put a space. And X represents account. And then the last 4 digits are 7679. Perfect. So you don't need to put anything in the description, but you can if you want to. But you could put there if you wanted to, Bank of the West checking. It's not necessary, but it is very important that we have the account type and the detail type correct. Okay, so after you've done that, you do not need to select anything else on this screen. Just go ahead and press save and close. Okay, now if we had multiple bank accounts, we could probably add the other ones. But since we're only going to be working with one bank account, we're going to press continue here.
Can you look at mine?
Yes. Who was that?
Adam. This is Adam.
Yeah, I'm watching yours, Adam.
Where do I put X7679?
You did perfect. You did it right there. You did it
okay.
Perfect. Okay.
Nice.
Okay. So it's now going to ask about a couple questions about our file. Okay. So we might need to toggle back and forth between our file to answer these questions correctly. The first question that it says is the first row of your file a header. Okay. So if you were actually to go look at that import file, it's asking you, does it have a header? And the answer is yes, right? That very first row where it says date, description, amount, that is a header, or debit, credit, that is a header. So you can answer yes. It says how many columns show amounts. This is an interesting one, right? Because our data has 3. But the balance, we don't really track that as amounts because it's kind of just a running balance. So you're going to select 2 there. And you'll notice that it only has 2 options. It only has 1 or 2. So we want to select 2. And then it says, what is the date format used? So if you look at your file, it's month / day / year. Now, if it had dashes or periods, then you would change that. Okay, so now we did step 1. Step 2 now is saying, okay, how do the fields correspond? So our first column is date. Our second column is description. So there's defaulting correctly. We just are checking it. Our third column is debits, and our fourth column is credits. So it's asking you now, which one is debits and which one is credits, or money received, right? Money received are credits and money spent are debits. So Adam, yours looks perfect. You can press continue. I'm just going to check everybody else out. Okay, perfect. Jade, you look good. You pressed continue. I'm just checking Obaid. Okay, perfect. Obaid, you got yours all good. And then Yamilise, I'm going to check yours, and then we're going to get started. Okay, perfect. So go ahead and press continue there. And what will happen is it's going to bring you to a whole list of transactions. Right next to the date, there's a blank box. If you select that box, it will select every single transaction.
Okay.
And then scroll all the way down to the bottom of your screen. And what it will do is it will say continue. And now it's going to say, we're going to import 118 transactions. Are you sure? We're going to say yes.
Yes.
And now we have brought in all of our transactions.